Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at MIPS instruction execution processes. So as you can see here, we have three types of MIPS instruction execution. The first one is single cycle, next we have multi-cycle, and finally we have pipelining. So let's start off with single cycle. So as you can see here, we have two instructions, the load and next we have the store. So the rule in single cycle MIPS instruction execution is that each instruction has to be executed in one fixed clock cycle. Alright, so as you can see, each instruction is being executed in one fixed clock cycle, like so. So the problem with single cycle execution is that, say the load instruction has an execution time of 10 seconds and the store instruction has an execution time of 8 seconds. But here remember that the rule is that each instruction has to be executed in one single clock cycle, and the size of a clock cycle has to be equal. So since the load instruction takes a bigger clock cycle, we are going to have to be using the same one for the store instruction, and there's going to be a wastage time of about 2 seconds. Alright, so in single cycle execution, no matter how many instructions you have, always the slowest instruction is going to be chosen, and there's always going to be this small wastage because these instructions finish in 8 seconds and the clock cycle will keep on going for another 2 seconds. So this part here, it's the idle time, it's the wastage. In order to combat this problem, we have the multi-cycle execution. So here is a multi-cycle execution. Here the load instruction and the store instruction is going to be divided into 5 different stages. So that's what multi-cycle basically does. It takes the MIPS instruction and divides it into smaller clock cycles so that we no longer have this problem here. So here the load instruction is made up of 5 equally sized small clock cycles. Each stage has its own name: fetch, decode, execute, memory, and write back. And the store instruction also has been divided into smaller clock cycles. And since it only requires 8 seconds, so it only requires till this point here, we don't need this, this extra 2 seconds. So the store instruction will just finish at this point. Okay? So the number of clock cycles for each instruction is not fixed, and that is our advantage in multi-cycle. But the problem in the multi-cycle execution here is this. Alright, so try to understand the problem here. The load instruction is made up of 5 different clock cycles, 5 stages, right? So fetch, decode, execute, memory, and write back. The memory clock cycle will always take a little longer to process than the other 4. Because whenever we need to access the memory, it's a lot, more time consuming than the other stages. So take for instance the memory needs 3 seconds, yeah? So this clock cycle will basically need to be 3. And since every clock cycle has to be equal, then this fetch one also has to be 3. This also has to be 3. Even if fetch, decode, execute, and write back needs 2 seconds, they're all going to be, executed or processed for 3 seconds, and we're going to have some idle time here. So it needed 2 seconds, but the clock cycle is going to be 3 seconds because of memory. So 1 second is wasted here, another one here, another one here, and finally another one here. And we're going to have this 4 seconds, which is our overhead. Yeah? So the load instruction was supposed to be up till here, but in the multi-cycle execution, you'll see that the write back instruction, it finishes at this point, which is here. Alright, so this purple part, this is our overhead. And we have this purple part because the memory clock cycle takes longer than the other stages, and that's why for each stage there is a small amount of overhead and so there's this small wastage here. Alright, so that's the problem with multi-cycle, and the advantage of multi-cycle is that there is no fixed number of clock cycles for each instruction, so which was in single cycle. So in order to combat that, we have our third, MIPS execution process, and that is pipelining. So pipelining involves the same concept as multi-cycle. Each instruction, for example the load instruction, is divided into 5 different stages, 5 separate stages, and so is the store instruction. But every instruction is processed parallelly. That is the advantage of pipelining. So pipelining involves the overlapping of instructions, and it involves maximum resource utilization. That basically means that we're going to get the least amount of idle time in the pipelining process, because as you can see, in multi-cycle, we have to wait for this entire moment, for this write back, until the store instruction can be executed. So load is going to take this entire period of time, and then we're going to be able to move on to store. Alright, so 5 seconds here, or say that, for example, 5 seconds here, and then another 5 seconds here. So that will be 10 seconds for total execution. But in pipelining, you see what happens is the load instruction begins executing here, right? And then when it moves on from fetch to decode, our store instruction begins to be fetched. So these load and store instructions, they're going to be executed parallelly, and if each phase takes 1 second of time, then the load instruction is going to take 5 seconds, and the store instruction is just going to take 1 second extra, which is here, and this is going to be 1 second extra. So the total here is going to be 6 seconds for load and store, whereas in the multi-cycle one it was 10 seconds. Okay, so that basically proves that pipelining is more efficient. So the advantage of pipelining is maximum resource utilization, more efficient, we need less time, and the disadvantage of pipelining is that it involves hazards. The structural hazard, the data hazard, and the control hazard. And we're going to be taking a look at these in the next tutorial. Thank you.